This video is about not blooming orchids. What I mean by that is I have some orchids and I've had a lot of trouble reblooming them. So I keep reading and learning and trying new things. So I want to share with you what I learned and what I'm trying. So I have been using this Quantum Orchid. It's a probiotic and you can add 1 teaspoon per gallon once a month, and it's available on Repot Me. So I also add, this is called Kelpak, and it's available on firstraise.com, and it's a website by Ray Barkalow, and you also add 1 tablespoon per gallon of water for this. So both of these, you can combine them, add 1 tablespoon of each one once a month. So I just do it on the first Saturday of the month and then I don't forget. So meanwhile, I've also been learning a lot more about fertilizer. Jason Fisher, his website is orchidweb.com, and then I've also read an article by Ray Barkalow from the American Orchid Society. It's called Orchids in a Nutshell. And then there's another article by Rick Lockwood, and he wrote an article that was actually reprinted in the American Orchid Society. Both printings were for their magazine. And they talked a lot about the nutrients that orchids receive in nature, in the wild. And what they discovered is that orchids, they don't really need a lot of fertilizer. So if you're trying to grow beautiful orchids, don't start with fertilizer. Instead, start with the potting mix, the temperature, and the light, humidity, all of that. Start with that. And then when you've done your best with those 3 things, then start looking at the nutrients. What they discovered is that orchids don't receive a lot of potassium in the wild. So I'm gonna try, I haven't tried it yet, but that's the next thing I'm going to try. And that is this, it's a low potassium fertilizer. And I got this one because it's granular and it's on Ray Barkalow that we talked about before. It's available on his website. So it's just a lot less expensive to order a granular than pay for the shipping for a liquid fertilizer. If you want to go on a journey and try out different liquid fertilizers, you can find one on Orchid Web, the one that Jason Fisher has, that one, or you can also go back to Ray Barkalow's website, and he has a liquid version and also the granular version. So that's the one I got, and it takes 1/8 of a teaspoon per gallon. So it should last a really, really long time. I have been using these 2, and the Kelpak and also the Quantum Orchid. And I think that they have improved. It's been less than a year, but it has been several months. But you can see that this one has lots of new growths, and this one has some new growths. There's a little tiny, it'll be hard to see, but there's some more new growths growing on this one. So these Paphiopedilum orchids are supposed to be very easy to rebloom, to grow in similar conditions to Phalaenopsis orchids, but they do like to be a little more wet, and these ones without the more colorful leaves, they like more light. Anyway, I just keep trying new things, and I am happy with the improvements that I've seen with Kelpak and also with Quantum Orchid. Again, Repot Me, and you can get this one from firstraise.com. And then I'm also excited to see if I can tell a difference just by using this new fertilizer. And in the article by Rick Lockwood that I read, he really talks a lot about Paphiopedilum orchids. They're really kind of his emphasis. So I guess I'm not the only one that struggled with them. So I'm excited to see what happens. But in the meantime, I do recommend trying Kelpak and Quantum, the probiotics for orchids, and see if they make a subtle difference with your orchids and help them look a little bit better. So that's what I'm all about. I'm about making small changes that really can lead up to a really big and beautiful orchid. I hope that you have more questions about growing orchids and that you want to grow them with me. and that you'll join our community, Orchid Buds. Here's a quick part 2. After I was putting all of these orchids away after filming, looks like we do have a new flower forming. So this little pod that you see right there will continue to grow and develop, and so it will be a new flower stalk. So there's a testimonial for you. Looks like what I've been doing has been working.